past decade, seemingly every college football season, there's been at least one quarterback that has exponentially grown their personal draft stock after entering a transfer portal in search of greener pastures. This list grows by the year, honestly. Honestly, there's Cam Newton, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, if you want to count him. But we're talking about good quarterbacks here. Justin Fields. The list goes on, honestly. In this draft cycle, it was no other quarterback, no other prospect in this class, to be honest, has helped their draft stock more by transferring than Malik Willis. Basically transformed himself from a relative unknown into one of the prospects that have one of the highest upsides in this class. And if you're looking for a guy that ends up being a superstar and he has all of the raw tool sets to be a superstar in the NFL level, we're talking about Malik Willis here today. If you are a fan of the Draft Season podcast or you do enjoy this YouTube channel, please make sure you do drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Got a lot more content, NFL draft, NBA draft, all the good things in between coming soon to you guys. But yeah, talking about one of the most intriguing and one of the best quarterbacks, just flat out plainly in this class. Let's talk about Malik Willis, somebody who just extremely just fun to watch. An extreme playmaker. Plays are never over with this kid. But let's get into his background. 3-star recruit coming out of Roswell High School in Georgia. I know a lot of times when quarterbacks in particular, they come out of nowhere. So a lot of people left asking, like, where's this kid coming from? Originally committed to Virginia Tech before making the decision to sign this letter of intent with Auburn. Malik Willis did find himself stuck behind current Patriot backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham for his first 2 seasons on campus. He was mostly relegated to sporadic zone read plays and option packages. Following Stidham's graduation, Willis was quickly supplanted on the depth chart by true freshman Bo Nix. Basically sped up the clock and led to him leaving Auburn in his rearview mirror. If you watch any Malik Willis, just what he did at Liberty, before we do get into his strengths and weaknesses, you didn't have to watch him for a long time for it to become as abundantly clear that he's a supreme athlete. In high school, he was a receiver who converted to quarterback basically midway through his junior season. And one of the problems with him, and I know a lot of times, like, how does he end up at a small school like Liberty? Doesn't really have, the track record of producing a lot of NFL talent. But the truth is, due to not having a lot of tape out there, not having a lot of game reps, a lot of coaches, a lot of college programs weren't really looking at him to give him that opportunity to prove his skills as a full-time starter, which is what he was looking for. So let's get into a little bit more of the background stuff here. Malik Willis is obviously 6 feet and a half, about 215, around 220 pounds. Has a good frame. He's thickly built. He's not the tallest guy, but he plays a little bigger than his size. He has, he is one of these guys who puts his body on the line, and he's able to go out there, fight for those first down yardage, and plays bigger than his size. And he has a thick base that does allow him to absorb a lot of contact. Career passing stats just a little under 3,000 yards, about at a 63% completion percentage, 48 touchdowns to 18 interceptions. And this is the number one. This is the selling point when you talk about him over his career record of 17-6. In those 26 starts, he rushed for 29 touchdowns on the ground, just eclipsed 2,000 yards rushing. Malik Willis is an extreme playmaker on his feet. I would say he is definitely in rarefied air when it comes to just his rushing capability. Only a select few other quarterback prospects over the past decade, honestly, can match his potency with his legs. We're talking about a high-level, quick-twitch athlete. Willis is consistently able to outrun pursuit angles, defensive linemen and linebackers with ease. His change of pace is really quick. He has cat-like quickness. He's able to put his foot in the ground and make another move and not lose any type of agility as he gets upfield. So about, like I said, this is a special package of just running for purely from a fantasy football perspective. Where he's going to go in, let's say, rookie in drafts this season. It's going to be interesting, but we're talking about somebody who does have the capability to be a fantasy superstar from year one. If you just look at what somebody like a Jalen Hurts did this season, Malik Willis does have that type of capability with his legs, and he should be able to whenever he does get that chance to really start. And if we're talking about whenever that does come, it's a question mark if that's going to be a year one thing for Malik Willis. But whenever that does come, he has possibility to be a game changer from a fantasy perspective in 1 quarterback and 2 quarterback leagues, superflex leagues, obviously. So have to waste or use a mid-round first round rookie draft pick on a guy like Malik Willis. That definitely has the high upside to pay off in the near future. For as much as a cheat code that I would say he is as a scrambler, I would say just watching the course of those 23 starts in his career, over his time, as he did become a lot more comfortable as just a passer and getting a lot more game reps, I would say he grew adept at not tipping his intention to run until the jailbreak scenario within the pocket did present itself at the last moment. We're sticking on the rushing for a moment. Has an innate nose for the first down marker. That's obvious on tape if you just watch him. A lot of times he would be able to bail out that Liberty team on 3rd and long instances with his legs to keep drives going. And another thing that just makes him special as a runner, he has let's call it a reserve tank turbo boost that he can hit at any time as a runner. It just makes him extremely difficult to square up. And he's really able to accelerate through holes and, make plays outside of the pocket. It's easy to call this kid a magician. He can turn nothing into a soul-crushing big play within the blink of an eye. Easily, you could describe him as a walking highlight reel waiting to occur. Elite tight area burst and acceleration. He can weave in and out of traffic. His ability to extend plays when he does get outside the pocket. Not only can he gash or make you pay with his legs, but as a ball carrier as well, he can, get outside of the pocket, ability in overall to make plays down the field. And a lot of times I would say we talk about one of his, we could describe it as a weakness. One thing that definitely did hurt him, he was sacked plenty of times at Liberty. He didn't have the greatest offensive line, obviously, but a lot of those times it was, you could put the blame on Malik Willis on a lot of those plays for not getting the ball out quickly enough and taking his eyes downfield at times. I'm just trying to avoid the rush and running for his life, trying to avoid getting decapitated, which is something that you can't really blame him for. But as he gets older and as he gets more game reps, we would like to see him improve on that. Getting into the passing of Malik Willis, because if we're just talking about arm talent and arm talent, the term itself can mean a lot of things. It's a vast term, just overall arm talent. Malik Willis definitely has, especially compared in this crop of quarterbacks in the 2022 NFL draft, he has an argument to be to just have one of the best packages overall. If you're talking about, being able to fit the ball in a tight space, just raw arm strength, throwing on the run, Malik Willis does check off all of those boxes. Like we did say earlier, he was only a 2-year starter in college. One thing for me, at least when I am watching these quarterbacks, I want to see improvements from year to year, and just checking out what he did from year 1 to year 2. Just turnovers. I think he did clean up some of the turnovers that he did have, especially when it comes to scrambling the ball. You want to see him take better care of the ball as a runner. But that's one thing. He did drop it down a little bit in his second year, but overall, that's still something that he needs to get better at. And we did speak about him, staying in the pocket too long and, taking sacks, and which leads to fumbles and things of that nature. Getting back to his passing a little bit, I would definitely describe him as more of a thrower than a pure pocket passer, which definitely just talking about where he does need to improve. And one of the most crucial elements of his development, it will be executing passes that do require touch and a change of speed, not over relying on the fastball, being able to take a little bit off of his passes. He can definitely put some mustard and zip behind his throws. You don't need to throw the 99-mile-per-hour fastball on every play. His errant throws were usually the result of passes that were sailing high on him. Can't tie that back to inconsistent footwork and issues at times with his base. Get him in the right scenario with a good, experienced quarterback coach and just the type of guys that he'd be working with in the offseason and during the year. I do think that is something he would be able to improve on. Well, it'll be interesting to see where he goes in the draft, but acknowledging the fact that Willis is still a work in progress, I think some evaluators may ding him for that. I wouldn't call him an inaccurate passer. if we're just going off of pure completion percentage, he was around 63%. Obviously, a lot of times his throws, he would miss or throws that he can make, and sometimes he just wouldn't make them. Becoming a more consistent passer is where he needs to improve, because I do think he has the ability to make even a lot of high-level NFL throws. He has an extremely quick throwing motion. He's able to generate a lot of velocity on his throws without much wasted motion, and obviously his athleticism allows him to square his hips and feet while on the move without losing much accuracy or power. Obviously, played at Liberty under Hugh Freeze, heavy RPO system. But once again, just watching his games from his first start of his career to the 23rd start, I do think he showed the growing characteristics of an aggressive downfield passer who he's not just only looking to dink and dunk. This is not something that he was asked to do plenty of the times. And a lot of times when we just talk about the reads that a lot of college coaches ask their quarterbacks to make, they're not asking their quarterback to go through options 3 and 4. They simplify the plays for these guys, and it's 1 and 2 reads for these guys. But he's shown the ability of, to a fleeting sense, I would say, but he knows that he does need to manipulate deep field safeties. And I would say, just for, and he's scratching the surface of where this needs to be. And at the NFL level, you have to get better at this very quickly. But he has the type of arm strength to where safety is backpedaling, or if he could throw the safety off for even a tick, he has the arm strength to really drop that ball in the bucket and, vertically make them pay if they're not in the right position, in an optimal position. I think his short passing game, when he's in rhythm, is adequate. And once again, the high-end arm strength allows him to work the sidelines and really place the ball in spots where only his receivers have a chance to make a play on the field. He has that ability to really plant his feet, step into his throws, and make high-level back shoulder throws. Another thing of just what's going to be super important for him, just talking about one of the most important aspects for him is, I would say, trusting your eyes. That's an important thing for a quarterback, any quarterback at that level. The game speeds up at the NFL level. A lot of times you see him double and triple pump fake. So that comes back to the trusting his diagnosing of what he sees the defensive coverages. I would call him hesitant in the pocket at times. And that can really lead to NFL defensive backs are too quick. The reaction times are just too good. They'll be all over that at the next level. Several times a game, the indecision as a passer would lead to issues that he'll need to clean up for sure to really reach that ultimate upside. But, when you're coming to just becoming more comfortable and with that part of his game, that's a difficult aspect, because it is something that can be improved on when you're projecting future upside. It's not a guarantee, and as you see, a lot of guys that speed up the NFL level, it can make you look ordinary. And even if you have the arm strength and the speed and the agility to be the Konami code cheat code that he definitely has, it can make you look marginal if you're not checking off all of the boxes and you're not processing and reading the game in front of you in the proper way. So definitely say Malik Willis is this 2022 NFL Draft's ultimate Mega Millions lottery ticket play. You're shooting it for the stars. If I was an NFL executive, if I was in the front office, if I trusted the developmental team and staff that I have, this is the type of raw skill set that you should be wanting to get your hands on. Comparing him to other guys who, somebody like Kenny Pickett or Desmond Ridder, who started for 3-4 years at that program. They've had stability and that chance to grow. And not that those guys can't continue to improve, but Malik Willis is the type of guy who can change your franchise if he hits his ultimate upside. The organization that chooses to invest in him, they'll need to be patient. Doubtful that he's going to be a day one starter. Probably doubtful that he's going to be even a second half of his first season starter. He might just be on the Trey Lance plan. I think when you consider his collegiate production overall, I do think it looks a little bit more impressive when you do consider just how raw and the lack of game reps that he did possess. Over the years, going back to his high school. 27 cumulative rushing touchdowns in 23 games just speaks volume to the rare level of fantasy upside that he does possess. So I'm a fan of Malik Willis. If I had to grade him out, I'd probably grade him out as a mid-round first quarterback. or mid first round quarterback, and at that point, that can lead you anywhere in the top 10. I don't see him really falling, anywhere past middle of the first round. I'd be shocked at that point just because so many teams need quarterbacks. But at the end of the day, I do think everything that you've seen about this kid, just having that exuberant and just a great personality, being credited as being a fast learner, somebody who wants to get better. I'm a fan of this Malik Willis kid, and I'll be rooting for him at the next level. Hopefully, he does end up in an organization that has an idea of what they're doing, and you can see something like that Josh Allen 2.0 developmental plan work. So, what do you guys think of Malik Willis? Drop a like, drop a comment. Share this video, tell a friend, tell another friend. Subscribe to the Draft Season Podcast. Where do you guys want to see Malik Willis end up? We out of here, man.